Hello, everybody. Once again, we're ready to have a new interview. In this case, you're going to be meeting one of my friends, Seth Huber, another American. He will be joining us just now. I hope you enjoy the interview with him. Este video es presentado por Avenida Digital. Avenida Digital te ayuda a digitalizar tu negocio. Si lo que buscas para tu agencia inmobiliaria es captación concreta de clientes potenciales, captación de propietarios o incremento sustancial de tus operaciones inmobiliarias, Avenida Digital tiene la solución. Avenida Digital hace que tu negocio inmobiliario no tenga techo.
Hey,
Hello.
Mathias.
Hi. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. So good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. Speaking about a while, how long has it been since we met? Because it's hard for me to do the numbers. I don't remember when we met, like what year that was.
Let's see. I was like a year into my mission, so it would have been 2017. So like 6 years,
6 years already?
I think so.
It's been a while then. And a few things have changed since then, right? We we met here in Buenos Aires, specifically in San Pedro, where I live, right?
Yeah,
You were, what was your age at that time?
19.
Yeah, right. Yes. So now you are
25.
25 years old. Yes. You were single back then.
No, I'm married.
Exactly. Exactly. So how have you been? How's the married life?
It's going good. Yeah. Cassie has been sick this past week, so she lost her voice, hasn't been able to talk, so that's been kind of rough, but she's getting better now. So
Oh,
mm, I'm graduated, so I'm just working and she's in
uh-huh.
school. So she's going to school and I'm working and we have our dog, Cowboy.
I
So things,
remember Cowboy.
yeah.
You sent me that video one time.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah, I still have it. Yes, I will probably include him in the video, so people can get to know Cowboy, your dog.
Hey Matthias, how's it going? I just wanted to say hi. It's been a while since I checked in with you. Um, we're doing good, just doing school and classes still. And we got a dog. His name is Cowboy. I'll show you in just a sec. But I should be doing homework right now, but I didn't feel like it. So instead, I am on a hike with Cowboy in the mountains. So yeah, we're doing good. So this is Cowboy. We got him about a month ago from the shelter. He's a really good dog. And then here's the mountains that I'm hiking in.
So you said you already finished your studies. You
Yes.
graduated.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you graduated from
I graduated from Utah State. Um, I got my master's degree in human resources.
human
And
resource.
I finished in December, so I've been done for like 9 months now, about.
Great, great. And now you're working.
Yeah, I'm working. So I work in Logan High School. It's a post-high classroom, so it's people with disabilities, ages 18 to 22. So help them with learning life skills like how to cook and find a job and stuff like that. And I also work at the North Logan Library just as a library clerk.
Well, that's quite special then.
Yeah, I
Do you
enjoy
like
it.
it?
Yeah, it's really good. It's a lot
That's
of fun.
nice. That is great. Sorry, I forgot. What is your wife's name?
Cassie.
Cassie. Yes. And she's still studying, right? You said?
hmm
What is
Yeah.
she studying?
She's studying communication studies. She's doing health communication specifically. Um, so she wants to, her dream would be to like teach parents how to talk to their kids about different health topics.
Different
So
what?
like how to talk she wants to teach parents how to talk to their kids. Sorry, there's a bunch of pop-ups coming up on my
Oh,
screen.
yeah, no problem.
Um, but yeah, she'd love to teach parents how to talk to their kids about like mental health and sexual health and other topics.
Oh,
So yeah,
well, that's a good one too. Pretty interesting jobs. Yes.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, you know that in this interview, one of the these interviews that I'm doing with different people, most of them Americans, who at some point they had to learn Spanish, most of them because they came to Argentina, except for a couple of guys that, well, they are from other places. They didn't get to be here in Argentina, but anyways, they learn a language or languages. But what I like doing in these interviews is talking about how each one of you experienced the learning process of a language. In this case, Spanish, right? Which is our native language, and while we're trying to learn yours, right? In this case. So, but I think that even though it's like the same story, like told from the other side, I think that there are parts where these experiences can cross and share lots of things in common, especially about the kinds of things that helped you in the process of learning. In the same way, things that you found confusing, probably, or the hardest parts about the learning process. So, what was that experience for you in this case? When you got here, probably with a very basic level of Spanish, or I don't know, maybe almost zero. I don't know. Like, how was
Yeah.
that for you?
Yeah. So I did like some Spanish in school and stuff. I took some classes. I think I did 4 or 5 years of Spanish. And then I got to the MTC. I did my missionary training in Buenos Aires, and um, I think that my Spanish classes helped me for about a week, and then I didn't know anything else after that. So there was a lot of new stuff to learn. I feel like it was really a process of my whole mission. Like I think probably after like the first 6 months or so, I felt pretty fluent and able to talk to people. But there were still some days that, if I wasn't feeling good or like I was stressed about something, then I just would lose all of my Spanish and couldn't understand anything anyone was saying or couldn't talk to anybody. But yeah, I think that it was probably really about 6 months before I felt generally comfortable speaking in Spanish. Um, I don't know what was your perspective meeting me, because I met you about a year into my mission.
You were
How do you?
like halfway.
Yeah,
I don't remember having to struggle to communicate with you, but it's also true that we had the chance to communicate in English in the meantime. But I don't remember you having really like problems with Spanish. I think you were pretty good when we met, you know?
yeah. Well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yes. Do you remember struggling with something in particular about one aspect of the language at least?
I think with Spanish specifically, just all the different conjugations, because we don't have, I don't know, maybe we do have as many as English, and I don't realize it, but there were a lot of conjugations to learn in Spanish, especially when you got to like the subjunctive and that, like learning to use that. I still don't think I know that very well.
Yeah.
But I think that was something that I struggled with a lot was yeah, just the conjugation, getting the right form of the verb when I was speaking.
It's pretty clear that subjunctive is one of those things that is hard to learn. It's hard to get, right? And
Yeah.
it's like it doesn't exist basically, in English. And I think maybe that's the reason why, Just yesterday, I was in a class, because I'm helping a group of missionaries to practice Spanish, and we were specifically practicing the subjunctive yesterday, and we practiced something like this, for example, and let's see how you would solve this one. It should not be like that difficult, but let's see how it goes. For example, suppose you want to say in Spanish something like, he doesn't have a car, but I want him to have one. How would you say that? He doesn't have a car, but I want him to have one.
No, no tiene un auto, pero quiero que tenga uno.
Very good. Very good. Now, he doesn't know my name, but I want him to know it.
Oh,
You know where I'm going with this.
I'm trying to remember if it's saber or conocer. I think it's conocer. No,
No, it could be saber. It's saber. Yes. Yeah.
it's saber. No sabe mi nombre, pero quiero que
Uh-huh.
lo sepa. Is
There
that?
you go.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
you see, that's the way it goes. Very good. Very good. Yes, exactly. From saber
Saber.
ending up in sepas, that can be really confusing. The changes are quite big in some cases. Yeah. No, but you remember a lot. You still remember a lot.
Yeah, I've been doing Duolingo in Spanish and helping my wife learn it. And so
Uh-huh.
we've been doing that just the past couple weeks. And so I've been explaining a lot of things to her. And I think that has really been helping me improve my Spanish again.
Very,
So
very
that's
good
another
idea.
thing I would say. When you're trying to learn a language, if one of the best ways to test yourself is to try to teach it to someone else, and then you'll know, but you'll figure out what things you need to work on learning more.
That is very good. I just the other day I was talking about that. When I learn something new, sometimes it's a new expression or a new word that I didn't know, because that happens, of course. There are many things that I don't know. And I know that the tendency would be, that I'm going to forget soon, right? So what I try to do is when I learn something new, I mean, when I hear or I come across the word that I didn't know, I try to share it with other people. Hey, you know what? I learned this. Probably the other people don't even care, about that. But I'm doing it so that I can remember, and it's interesting how the mind works in that aspect. So that's what I've been trying to do. And that's something that I would recommend, just in the same way you just said it, right? Share it with someone, tell it to someone. That will help you remember it. That's one thing we can do.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's the other thing that I like using this space for, sharing ideas, tips, different things that we can do to make it a little bit easier, So that would be one. Do you have any other ideas or any other thing that helped you?
I think I know this can be difficult depending on your situation, but since I was living in Argentina, then I had to speak Spanish. So just immersing yourself in the language as much as you can, I think is really helpful. And if you're like not living in a country that speaks the language that you're learning or something, you can still, watch TV shows or listen to music in that language. That's kind of how you learned a lot of your English, isn't it? It was
Exactly, which is the main reason why I decided to work in a particular way, with my students, based on my own experience. That's what I'm trying to do. Whether that's the best or not, what I'm trying to do is the things that worked for me, try to bring them, to my students. That's what I'm trying to do, at least. I hope they get it or they receive it the same way. Yeah, but you are absolutely right. Like moving to a country where English is spoken would be like the ideal situation. Now, when we don't have that option, the closest thing we can do is surround ourselves, as you said, with the language, like watching movies or shows. But not only that, like even trying to think in English, in different moments of your day while you're doing something else Can you explain what you're doing in that moment? Can you say it in English, for example? You can challenge yourself, and you don't need to put some time aside to study English. You can do it while you're living your regular life. And that's something that I've been telling my students. Like, you don't need to put a time aside, to study. You can just live your life, and while you're living it, you can try to see and think in English, and see if you can say those things in English. Talk to yourself in English. It sounds crazy, like a crazy idea, but that's okay. That's what I did. Again, that's what I did. My children told me that they do that sometimes as well, like, especially when they have like emotional thoughts, like they're excited or they're angry. They even ask me if it is normal to have these thoughts in English, right? It is really interesting, how it works. Doing little things, even like setting your phone, for example, in English, or apps in English when you can choose the language, like your Instagram or whatever, you can just set it in English, so you will be getting to use frequently the same set of words that are really important in communication, like the words like delete, send, forward, reply, etc., right? Even like, share, those things are very common, when it comes to communications, and they are shared by most social media today, right? So that can help a lot. Maybe it seems like it's not gonna, but it will,
Yeah.
It will help.
I definitely found that just being around people that speak the language and listening to music and reading books in that language, it really helps. Your brain just starts to make those connections, and you start, like you said, you start thinking in that language even on your own. Because I feel like I don't think in Spanish as much anymore, but on my mission I definitely did. Like, there were, like, I would forget English words all the time, like stuff like that. Like, my brain was just set in Spanish so much. So
Yes, it's funny when that happens, no? That you don't remember the word in your own language. That's crazy, but it happens. It happens. Yeah. Yes, it's kind of funny. Have you had any chance to use Spanish in your life now, like there in the US? You're maybe at work or
a little bit. Not as much as I would like, probably. But sometimes I for a while I volunteered helping teach English classes to Spanish speakers. And so that was kind of a cool experience to get to do that. I Every once in a while someone will like come into the library that doesn't speak English. They only speak Spanish, and so I can help them out more than my other coworkers that don't speak Spanish. And yeah, I haven't had like a ton of opportunity to do it, but a lot of my friends also speak Spanish, so sometimes we,
really?
just because from serving missions in other places. I have a couple friends that went to Argentina, some that went to Mexico, some that were learned Spanish in the States. So I practice with them sometimes. Like I said, I'm teaching my wife Spanish with
That's
the
great.
help of Duolingo. So
That's amazing.
And I did teach some Spanish classes at the university. I actually got my minor in Spanish.
Oh, that's great. Okay. That's really good. That's really good. Now, when the day comes when you will have kids, do you picture yourself like, like teaching them Spanish? Not maybe like a class, but like surrounding them with some Spanish so that they can get it from an early age?
Yeah, I definitely would like to do that. That's something that we've talked about, is because my wife actually speaks like a couple languages, not like fluently, but she's lived in Russia for a few months, and so she kind of picked up some of that. And
Russian, she speaks Russian.
Yeah, a little bit. And her parents speak German, so she's learned just a little bit of that. And so
Uh-huh.
that's something that we would like to do with our kids. And also, so her parents both served missions in Germany, so they both speak German. My parents both served in Denmark, so they both speak Danish. And we wish that our parents would have taught us the languages that they
Uh-huh.
knew. And so that's something that we definitely want to do with our kids is introduce them to the languages that we know, and also just other cultures in general. I think is really important part of that too. Just
Well,
letting
that is the other thing. And we mentioned this many times, even during these interviews, like the connection there is between learning a language and learning culture, the culture behind the language, which is connected to the places where the language is spoken. And that is really interesting as well, and it's good to know, it's good to learn, Well, I think like learning lots of stuff is really good and is healthy for the mind. Well, especially, well, I don't know, because this is probably my personal thing, but with a language, the same as with music, which is another aspect of my life that is important. I think the way that our brains and the way we think, the way we perceive the world, when we are involved in music and involved with, language, the experience, the all this process, this mental process that need to happen to learn a language, to acquire a language, I think it's really healthy. It helps us a lot. The way we think develops in a different way, and it helps us with skills that we will need for other kinds of situations that maybe have nothing to do with a language, with English or with Spanish, So I think it's really good, and I think that's behind everything is what I like about this, like how we improve as people when we add these things to our lives, So it means a lot that you accepted to have this interview. You're an amazing guy. I also know you're a little bit shy. We know that. You even told me that you didn't picture yourself like having this interview, and you did it, and you did great. I'm really happy that I got to add you to this experience, to this project, of mine.
yeah, thanks for having me.
It's an honor.
I enjoyed, yeah, it's been a lot of fun talking about it. So thanks for encouraging me to do it.
Thank you. Thank you for accepting. It means a lot. I'm sure people will enjoy learning and hearing your experiences, and maybe they will take some of those tips that you mentioned, right? So I appreciate that you took the time to do this with me today. And I'm going to be posting it soon. I will let you know when it's ready. But thank you so very much for doing this. It means a lot, and probably we will do it again some other time. Who knows? But I thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome, Matthias. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.